D. Welcome to the show, everybody. This is the Farzy Show, presented by MyBookie, mybookie.ag, and it's wonderful to have you along for the ride. Oh, my. Watching this 76ers team is so much fun. Watching Philly sports in general right now, where we just can't lose, that's also fun. But being down 19 points in the game last night to the Wizards, second leg of a back-to-back, right? I know it's only the first one of the season. I know the season just started. It shouldn't be that tired legs, but Sixers have found themselves in some pretty tough situations through the first three games of the season, having to fight back in two of them in particular. And then they only get stronger as the game goes on. And they went in overtime, 139 to 134 against the Washington Wizards in a game they trailed by 19 in total. Mostly trailed by. They trailed by 16 going into the fourth quarter, trailing by 16 points. And they outscored the Washington Wizards by 21 points in the fourth quarter and overtime combined. And Tyrese Maxey, ladies and gentlemen, went off in that second half for 23 of his 39 points. Watching this transition from the Joel Embiid, number one guy, MVP candidate era to all of a sudden having Tyrese Maxey, VJ Edgecombe, Quentin Grimes, Kelly Oubre, all these guys that can run the floor. And then Jared McCain's going to join this in the not too distant future. And hopefully you get some, I don't know, at least decent three-point shooting from Paul George to add to the three-point shooting the Sixers are already able to accomplish. Yeah, this is pretty exciting to see what the 76ers can do for the rest of the season. And look, to answer this question right out of the gate, are the Sixers playing better without Joel Embiid? Yes, the Sixers are playing better without Joel Embiid. However, Joel Embiid scored 20 points in 20 minutes. Not last night, but the night before, his last game. Last night, Joel Embiid played a season-high 23 minutes and scored a season-high 25 points and was actually in the plus territory in last night's game when everybody else was struggling to be in the plus territory in last night's game. Now, you could also say, oh, well, Joel Embiid wasn't playing there in the fourth quarter late in the game there, so that's when they went on their big run. Yeah, but he was on the floor, and actually in total last night, he was a +9. Now, plus minus doesn't tell you everything, but it can tell you that he wasn't the biggest problem that the Sixers had at the time. The bigger problem was that on the other end, even when Joel Embiid wasn't on the court, the Washington Wizards went on a tear. And it was a really interesting thing that the Wizards were doing as far as this game was going. You look at the box score, and like only 3 percentage points separated what the Wizards were doing from three-point line and what the Sixers were doing from the three-point line. So you go, wait, how are the Sixers being blown out by this much? And how does it seem like the Wizards are throwing everything in the hoop and they're only a couple of percentage points better than the Sixers from three? And at that point, they'd only made about 2 or 3 more threes than the 76ers midway through the third quarter. You're like, how is this happening? What are they doing? And the simple thing was they were just capitalizing on their possessions. And the Sixers were not. They were coming up small on that end. Sixers were going cold at the wrong moment from just regular field goal percentage, regular old field goal percentage, overall production down the offensive end of the court, and hitting threes just wasn't a thing at that point in the game while the Wizards were taking off. So I did not think in the fourth quarter, I'll say this, going into the game, I wasn't as bothered by the scheduled loss idea. I wasn't as bothered by the back-to-back and all that, and the Wizards coming off of 2 days rest, I believe it was. I wasn't as bothered by it because you got a young team, and they're playing with a whole lot of energy. When they started to go down, though, in the third quarter, it just felt like one of those games that was not going to be the night. I did have a little bit of a saving grace as far as something that kept me on the edge of the seat, which was the Sixers in just about every game of the season, all three of them. They had found a way to fight back in most of these games, 2 in particular. And they were able to fight back in this one using everyone. Quentin Grimes comes up with a clutch 3, comes up with 2 turnovers. Tyrese Maxey comes up with 2 big buckets, a driving baseline, reverse layup. Then another blazing fast drive to the basket to pull the Sixers to within one. Sixers get a stop down the defensive end on a big block by a Bona. Congratulations, CJ McCollum. You've been boning, baby. Goes down the other end of the court. Maxey gets a floater in the lane, clanks it off the back of the rim. A Bona had not gotten a field goal, had not gotten a shot all night. Gets his first bucket of the game on the follow-up jam that put the Sixers up a point. It put the Sixers up in the game for the first time since the 3:56 mark of the first quarter. Yeah, it's a good time to get your bucket there, Bona. And then the Sixers go into overtime, and they win the game. If you're not watching this, I don't know what to tell you. If you're not enjoying this brand of basketball from the Sixers, I don't know what to tell you. This is so much fun. And what adds to the fun is you look on that court and you see how much fun they're having together. And as I said, everybody's helping out. Quentin Grimes had a big night to another 20-point game off the bench. He played almost 40 minutes last night. You had the 25-point night, 7 rebound, 5 assist night also from Joel Embiid in just 23 minutes. Another double-double for Kelly Oubre, 17 points, 11 rebounds. To go along with his 39 points, Tyrese Maxey also had 10 assists. Edgecombe in this game, 14 points, 6 rebounds, 4 assists for him in 40 minutes played. Yeah, everybody is helping. Jabari Walker got you some clutch points as well, 8 points in this one. This is just an absolute joy to watch this style of play. And here you go. They played Monday. They played Tuesday. They're off today. They're off tomorrow. They're back at it on Halloween against the Boston Celtics again. This is a blast. Tyrese Maxey on media day, and I was looking for the clip in the system here, and I thought I had it. I don't have it. But he talked about the brand of basketball, the standard of basketball that you could expect as a fan from the Philadelphia 76ers. And right now, they are absolutely performing to that standard. I saw Keith Pompey's article, a guy I'm going to be doing a show with in a little bit. Hey, more of me on basketball a little bit later today at 7:30. So I got to flip over to Locked On after that. But watching Tyrese Maxey play this year, he is living up to everything he said on media day. It's 4 games, but it's 4 games of exactly what he told you was coming, which was he wanted to set a standard that no matter who was out there playing, whether Joel Embiid was healthy, whether Paul George. Now, he didn't name names, but I think we all knew what he meant. But no matter who was out there, you were going to see a certain style of play. I'm sure he looked at it from afar and went, okay, Quentin Grimes is probably still going to come back. He wasn't signed yet at the time, but I'm sure Quentin Grimes will be back soon. And he was. But with VJ, knowing Jared McCain was going to be coming back, knowing Kelly Oubre can be so versatile from playing 2 or 3 or 4 on the floor for the 76ers, he'd be able to run with them. No matter what, you were going to see a certain style of basketball from this team, and you were going to be seeing this team play to a certain standard every single night. And so far, through 4 games, that's exactly what you've seen. And Tyrese Maxey's been playing like he's the MVP of the league. And at that Capital One Arena in D.C., you could hear Sixers fans oohing and on and cheering and booing as the Sixers were performing throughout last night. And one of the best parts was when Tyrese Maxey went to the line, you could hear MVP chants from 76ers fans. And I saw my man Keith Pompey tweet out, or post rather, as Maxey was leaving the court, you could still hear MVP chants after the 76ers pulled out the comeback victory in overtime over the Wizards. This is an absolute pleasure to watch the Sixers play basketball the way they're playing right now. And it's just flat out exciting. And look, I'll answer the question again. Yes, the 76ers are playing better without Joel Embiid right now. They're still going to need Joel Embiid. I know that's not what a lot of people want to hear, but the fact of the matter is you get into the later half of the season, you get into the playoffs, you're going to need somebody else that can also play in the half court. It's not going to be all fun and gun and fast breaks and transitions. You're going to have somebody to play in the half court. If you remember, I think it was following the Jimmy Butler year, one of the things that got said, and what the hell was that guy's name? Dudley, played for the Nets. So it was Jimmy Butler's year. That's where Jimmy Butler would take over in the half court. They were great in transition. Sixers were great in transition because Ben Simmons would get it and push. He'd get it and go. And then get in the half court, and Jared Dudley, that's the name. Jared Dudley said something that was true. Nobody liked it, but it was true. Ben Simmons disappears in the half court. Well, you need other people to play in the half court. They had Joel Embiid. They had Jimmy Butler. They had Jimmy Butler essentially running point in the playoffs. It was a good call by Brett Brown to be able to do that. Now the Sixers have guys that can obviously run the floor, but guys that can also shoot from the outside. So imagine the world where Joel Embiid is getting that ball at the elbow, the foul line, top of the key, down the block, and you're in the half-court set, and he's trying to bully somebody, and instead of trying to force a fadeaway jumper or something like that, he's kicking it out to Quentin Grimes in the corner, or Tyrese Maxey at the top of the key, or Kelly Oubre in the other corner, and Jared McCain or VJ Edgecombe or Paul George. You're able to knock down those shots. Those are open shots because Joel Embiid is suctioning guys into the block with him. Easy kick out, easy three. There was one of the best plays I'd seen from the two-man game of Tyrese Maxey and Joel Embiid. That came, I want to say it was in the first quarter, and they ran a little give and go. It was, yeah, give and go. It gave the Sixers a 15-12 lead, so early in the game. And little give and go with Maxey on the wing, Embiid about the top of the key, and Maxey just fed Embiid and cut right to the basket. Embiid went right back to Maxey for the easy jam. That was more of that, please. Love to order more of it. So much fun. So much fun to watch this team play. Like I said, they're back at it Friday. Flyers got a nice win there over the Pittsburgh Penguins in another shootout victory for your Philadelphia Flyers. I love to see that. And I'm saying that just because it's the I'm not just, I mean, I'd bring it up anyway, but to bring it up before this other thing I'm bringing up tells you it's the bye week. But yeah, Flyers got a nice win last night. Bobby Brink came up with a gorgeous shootout goal. Erson down the other end got the stop to secure the win. And the Flyers were putting the win. Chalking up the W in the win column there. Now this brings me to your Philadelphia Eagles. Kevin Patullo yesterday, Vic Fangio yesterday, Michael Clay yesterday. In total honesty, I rarely ever watch the special team coordinator press conference. I would rarely ever follow that. If there was something that jumped out to me, then I'll be like, oh yeah, what was going on there? And I wanted to hear, I wonder if he's going to ask, he's got to be asked about Will Shipley, right? So I put up the press conference. First question, Reuben Frank. Hey, Will Shipley's kind of good. And Michael Clay's like, yep, running back vision for a kick returner is always a good thing. Patience from a running back as a kick returner, always a good thing. Then he also credited Xavier Gibson for being able to handle the punt returns and all that. But as I said, I feel like the Eagles figured out who their backup running back is coming out of the Giants game, and I feel like the Eagles absolutely found their kick and punt returner after that game as well. That's a sight for sore eyes. Now, when it came to sort of the big story of this game, the Eagles had averaged, I can't say it enough, under 88 yards per game on the ground going into this last Giants game. 88 yards on the ground. I saw somebody make a comment on the postgame show with me and Gunner and Seth Joyner, of course, on the Seth Joyner Show YouTube channel. I saw somebody make a comment about how it's the Giants. Everyone runs on the Giants. Yeah, you know who didn't? The Eagles 2 weeks ago. They didn't run on the Giants. So don't give me this, everyone runs on them. Yeah, you know who didn't? The Eagles. You know who did this? You know who did this time around? The Eagles. So Kevin Patullo yesterday was asked about the success they had in the run game and what went into it.
I think when you look through the whole season up to this point, we've been close on a few things, and then just continue to work in the direction of knowing, we want to run the ball and complement that with the other things that we have going on. It's just kind of a matter of time. The guys did a really, really good job of just executing and doing everything they can to prepare for the different looks we might get. So it was good. It was a good thing to kind of have it go the way it went and build to this point. We knew we were really, really close, and it was exciting to see. It adds another element to our offense, obviously.
Yeah, boy, does it. He also went on to talk about scheme and play design, essentially, formation and personnel, how that had helped. I mentioned to you guys the story of Seth drawing up the run packages. He wanted to see the formations and his blocking schemes and all that. And then, sure enough, second play of the game, hey, you see that? See what's familiar? And I look at that. Oh, damn, son, that's awesome. Literally predicted what the Eagles were going to do on, to improve the run game, or more like suggested what the Eagles should do to protect or to help the run game. So he goes on to talk about that. He goes on to talk about bringing in Fred Johnson. So here's what's so wild about that. You talk about predictability. You bring Fred Johnson in, a lot of times teams are going to go, oh, okay, they got another got the extra tackle in here. They got max protect, essentially. They're going to try to throw it deep, or they're going to try to run the ball with Saquon Barkley. They're probably going to try to run the ball with Saquon Barkley. Look at all these guys on the line. Bang. Play action. Bomb to Devontae Smith. They bring in max protect again. They bring in Fred Johnson, second play of the game against the Giants. Bang. 65-yard touchdown run. That's pretty good. You don't know what they're doing. And it also helps you in the play action game, because now you've put all that on film where you don't know what's coming. That's not predictable. That's the opposite of predictable. But bringing in Fred Johnson and keeping the defense guessing and on their toes with that has helped tremendously. And it's led to at least 2 touchdowns this season. So that certainly helped. And you do look at it, and I've mentioned blocks that haven't been held, or offensive linemen not getting rid of guys. We talked through this week about not double-teaming guys at the second level, and the Eagles were able to do that against the Giants. One of the guys that really went out there and balled out better than I thought he would was Brett Toth. And we've talked about it on the show, but Kevin Patullo was asked about just what went into Toth's performance against the Giants and why he was able to perform at such a high level in that game.
Really good. He played really, really good. I mean, the guy's extremely smart. He's detailed. He comes to work every day. He works his butt off constantly in the classroom. He asks really good questions. He's out in front of things. He wants to know the plan inside and out. And you can feel his detail and his energy out there. So that's the biggest thing for him is you could tell that he wants to be good in every area and do anything he can for this team. And he put a lot of effort into it. So it's really good to see.
We hear it all the time from Nick Sirianni, from Kevin Patullo. Whenever Jeffrey Lurie addresses the media, what he looks for in coaches, this is usually about coaches. Anyone that wants to be great is really into the detail. And Brett Toth getting the praise of that word detail that the Eagles don't necessarily just throw around. I mean, they throw it around when they tell you what they're looking for. Brett Toth being that guy that was paying attention to detail like that. I said one of my big concerns, obviously, was health of the offensive line. When I've talked about run game versus pass game, the Eagles have been really good at pass blocking and then struggling mightily in the run game. That tells me that they don't understand their run concepts. If you're going to go beyond injury and say, well, your Pro Bowlers aren't playing like Pro Bowlers, that kind of thing, and you're going to go beyond injury and say, what else could it be? Well, when you're pass blocking, you're pretty much, for the most part, straight up, man on man. You know exactly what the assignment is. Stop the guy in front of you. That's that. Run blocking, you got to remember you're pulling. You got to remember where you're going. Everything. There's a little bit more of a complication to it. It's mind and it's body. Pass blocking, just brute force. Brute force. It can be a lot when you got to block for 4 or 5 seconds on multiple plays on a drive. That could certainly wear you out. But when you talk about assignments in a run game, that's a whole thing. Am I getting up to the next level? Who am I taking? That kind of thing. So it can be a little bit more complicated. So that tells me that the Eagles just weren't ready. And we've heard it from Jordan Mailata in the past. We heard it from him this year, just about offensive line going through struggles, offensive line not being focused. Last year, the offensive line not knowing their assignments. We've heard about this. So it can be complicated. I know I've talked in the other direction, but to focus on what can be difficult about the run game is knowing your assignment. They knew their assignments in this game. And Brett Toth certainly stepping in for Cam Jurgens, he knew his assignment, and he made sure he knew his assignment in this game. And then what did you see from this? You saw a team averaging 88 yards on the ground with Jalen Hurts and Saquon Barkley on the squad. You saw a team averaging under 90 yards per game, and then they had 2 100-yard rushers in one game. That's pretty special. That's pretty special. Vic Fangio, though, yesterday I felt stole the show. Vic Fangio is fantastic. And the guy that he stole the show with, and this is what I think of when I think of Cooper DeJean. When I think of Cooper DeJean, I think of a coach just like Vic Fangio going into a laboratory and like weird sciencing, that's an old reference, a football player. That's what I think of. I think of him going into a lab and just computer programming a football player, specifically a nickel corner, if you will. Form tackling, right place, right time, just smart, heads up player. He's the perfect football player. Yesterday, Vic Fangio said just about as much during his press conference yesterday.
No, he's, we got very lucky that he lasted till the middle of the second round. And I think the reason he did, because he only played corner in college, at least his last year. And I don't think everybody was sure, was he a first round corner, second round corner, third round corner? I don't think the league as a whole had a feel for his versatility because he didn't play it in college. And, he's really a damn good nickel, probably one of the best nickels in the league. And we're playing him at corner in the base. He could play safety if we needed him to. He's a defensive back, but really he's just a good football player.
He is. He's just a good football player. He could not give enough compliments to really two guys yesterday. One was Cooper DeJean, and the other was Nakobe Dean. And now how Nakobe Dean has just put in the work to be there, to be on the inside, being down so many outside linebackers, Nakobe Dean being able to step up and play in the middle there with Zach Bond playing on the outside, a position that he obviously has a lot of experience in prior to last year, and also Jahad Campbell's versatility and being able to go outside as well, be an edge rusher also, and Nakobe Dean just not missing a beat, though he was injured. And I'll go back to what Dean said at his locker, excuse me, right before he ever played a game. Well, he played special teams. But no, still before that Giants game, before he played special teams. He said, I've been here. Like, hey, how long is it going to take before you think you're up and running? He's like, I've been here. I've been at every practice. I've been in every meeting. I played here last year. Started last year. Played at a high level last year. I've been here. It's going to be pretty easy to go out there and play again. I know football shape is very much a thing, and I believe in it, but that guy must have a cheat code because he has just been playing very, very good football since the Eagles have trusted him to get back there. And the injury, he's trusted the injury to get back there and play next to Zach Bond or in between Zach Bond and Jahad Campbell. So a lot of compliments there. A lot of talk of versatility yesterday from Vic Fangio. A lot of talk of versatility, especially when it came to Jahad Campbell. And also, he talked about Reed Blankenship as well. The thing that I always kind of have a radar up about when coaches talk about what a play, well, you don't see what he does. Like, okay, well, try me. And the point he was making about Reed Blankenship is, though, you might see him get beat from time to time at the safety position, but you got to realize, this is Vic Fangio's where it's not mine. He's got a rookie safety next to him. He feels somewhat responsible for his production as well. He does try to focus on his own job, but you got to focus on everything if you're essentially the signal caller back there. And then the other thing he talked about was he does what you guys can't see. And I think I know exactly what he means by that, actually. Because if you remember going back to training camp, guys like Adoree Jackson, guys like Keely Ringo, even Jahad Campbell, and Jacorian Bennett, actually, after he was acquired, they all talked about Reed Blankenship like being that leader, being the guy that everybody feels like they can go to in the locker room and talk to, being the guy on the field that everybody feels like they can go and talk to on the bench, on the sideline, whatever. He's just a guy that understands every concept on the defensive side of things and can break it down for anybody that needs it broken down to, that's maybe not grasping a concept the way the Eagles would like them to grab a concept. Yeah, I don't see that. I can't sit next to him on the bench. I mean, I could sit next to him on the bench. Is one thing I probably could do, but I'm not sitting down there with him next to him on the bench, feeling, hey, why did you roll that way? I thought you were going to roll the other way. Like, it's getting a little bit more difficult. But a lot of great things to hear from the Eagles yesterday. Just makes you look forward to after the bye week. Also, Vic Fangio, as he does many times, he opened his press conference yesterday. Now, I'll say this. He didn't open it as much as somebody asked him about it, and he kind of invited the question because he was wearing a Red October. Oh, my heart. A Red October hoodie. So he got asked about the 18-inning World Series game that, of course, happened the night before this press conference and the morning of this press conference, as a matter of fact. The press conference is yesterday. So he was talking about Shohei Ohtani, and our old friend there, John McMullen. Our old friend John McMullen asked Vic Fangio about Ohtani getting on base 9 times. Vic, defensive mastermind, what would you do with Ohtani?
He got on base 9 times. 9 times.
They're going to walk him every time he's up the rest of the series?
Sounds like it. Should. Might. Hey, Vic, how
They should hit him. They should hit him, not walk him.
I'm going to add that into things that Vic Fangio does that totally reminds me of my dad. They should hit him, not walk him. You know what? I think if you were to walk around Philadelphia and just be like, hey, how do you think Vic Fangio would face Shohei Ohtani? Probably just hit him. There we go. Thank you. And then you know what? He went into this. Now, my dad, I've mentioned this on the show before. My dad, he is still a huge Sandy Koufax fan. He wasn't a Dodgers fan. He was a Phillies fan growing up. So let's just get that out of the way. But he just loved Sandy Koufax. And my dad called me yesterday, literally while I was watching the Vic Fangio press conference. And he said, hey, they showed Sandy Koufax during the World Series last night. I'm like, yeah, that's your boy. He's like, yeah, best pitcher ever, which is crazy because obviously Steve Carlton here in Philly, you think he'd be a little bit more in favor of Steve Carlton. But Carlton wasn't here when my dad was a kid, you know? And we figured it out. My dad was like 10 when Koufax was just starting his like 5 years of utter dominance. 3 Cy Youngs and an MVP award and just absolutely insane ERAs in the ones, you know, that kind of thing. And Sandy Koufax, by the way, now 89 years old, but my dad would always tell me about Koufax batting left-handed, so his right arm was exposed, not his left arm. So in other words, if you were faced as an opposing pitcher and you were facing Koufax and you wanted to do something, hit him in the arm. But you would only hit him in the right arm, which obviously wouldn't bother his pitching arm. So yesterday, Vic Fangio was like, yeah, just hit him. And he goes, and then he's like, yeah, it hit him in the right arm, so he can't pitch. And I realized Shohei Ohtani, now he needs to be a better hitter than Koufax, obviously, so he's going to go with his dominant side. But yeah, that actually came up as I'm talking to my dad. I'm like, Dad, you're not going to believe what Vic Fangio just said. Because it's what you would always talk about with Sandy Koufax. But anyway, I digress. World Series, by the way, that's up. That's even at 2 games apiece now. The Blue Jays bounced back after the 18-inning affair and won Game 4 last night in Los Angeles. Vlad Guerrero Jr., speaking of favorite all-time baseball players, Vlad Guerrero Sr., one of my favorite all-time players to ever watch. So, yeah, his son's still rocking it, as we all know, in Toronto. So that's the way that one went down. There you go. There's one more thing from yesterday. Patullo. Kevin Patullo yesterday at his press conference talked about the mental toughness that has to come with the job of being an offensive coordinator in the city of Philadelphia, a first-time play caller in the city of Philadelphia. And he always says he doesn't hear the outside noise, and he'll refer to it as outside noise when people ask him about the outside noise or the criticism and all that. He just says he's good. He's good. But the way he goes about it is he just lets the job consume him. It's not like a coping mechanism. It's like if something gets brought up or some harsh criticism of him gets brought up, he's just like, yeah, okay, I'm busy working. I of all the things, I got to say, I love that. Just in terms of the off the field stuff. And I've given Kevin Patullo credit for, little wrinkles we've seen here and there that we really haven't seen much of. He did talk about the screen game yesterday as well, why it worked in this game, and it's just that we picked the right spot. He did say yesterday that they look to get a couple of those in every game. It's just a matter of whether or not they think the defense is giving it to him. So he has done some things that we haven't seen a lot of. I mentioned the wheel route before. I've mentioned the shovel passes. I've mentioned the tush push sweep and all that. Bringing in Fred Johnson. Little wrinkles to this Eagles offense and also little improvements in the Eagles offense. Fred Johnson coming in like he was in the Vikings game, like he did in this Giants game. I feel like the Eagles found a new toy in all this to really keep the defense guessing, and that's certainly an evolution of a Kevin Patullo offense. But yesterday he just said that, when the criticism is, comes across his table where he happens to catch something and go, that's not fun. He's just, I'm busy working. There's a lot of critics out there that you could easily ignore when you just, I didn't hear that. I was busy working. I do find it. I still very much find it interesting that yesterday or 2 days ago now, Nick Sirianni talked about Patullo's continued improvement, like acknowledging that there's a work in progress here. Not giving you the standard, Kevin's been great, just great offensive mind, and he's really putting everything together for this offense, and it's one of the reasons you're really seeing him really start to click now as everybody gets on the same page. Nothing like that. It was, just continued improvement. Fine by me, as long as it continues. Let me tell you about PHL Sports Nation, Philadelphia Sports Nation, enhancing your Philadelphia sports fan experience across all social media and blogs. That's phlsportsnation.com. Rye, good morning. Hey, good morning. Natalie, good morning. Thomas, hey, what's up, cousin? April, hello again. Farzi, where's Keith Pompey? Probably in a hotel room in Washington right now, waiting to get his train, and we're going to do our show when I wrap up here in a couple of minutes. So jump on over to Locked On 76ers in about 10 minutes after I wrap here. April, deal of the time, straight up. Yeah, rough night in the Farzetta household last night. Rougher than usual. But no, rough night. Leo, my boy, 4-year-old, 102 fever. So he's got a doctor's appointment today. Wayne the Pain, hello. James Alexander, hello. Farzi, they've been clutch throughout the first 4 games. Hell yeah. Hell of a start to the season. Absolutely. What's up? James Alexander III. Joel is taking the back seat. Yeah, you're damn right he is. And he seems fine with it. I know there's a lot of people that want to make this a negative thing. Joel Embiid has been a model teammate. He said last night with Tyrese Maxey, he feels like a proud father. Now, the interesting thing is going to be how he responds to MVP chants. Well, after the MVP chants last night for Tyrese Maxey in Washington, Joel Embiid talked about being a proud dad. Feel like a proud dad. It's great. He's there celebrating with the team, celebrating with the rookie VJ Edgecombe. I love it. So far, model citizen. Oh, and the thing that also matters more than anything, he's getting better. He's getting stronger. Quentin Grimes last night, 23 points, 7 rebounds, 5 steals, right? He had 5 steals last night. 2 of them came late in that fourth quarter, which was the thing of beauty. 3 steals last night. Quentin Grimes. Yeah. Wayne the Pain, nice stat line for Grimes. 3 steals. Bona had 5 blocks. There's that. And 2 points in 18 minutes. Sean Cohen, Jalen Hurts versus the Blitz over the past 2 weeks. 21-25, 354 passing yards, 5 touchdowns, 0 interceptions, perfect 158.3 passer rating. That's pretty damn good. The guy from Portland reminded us of certain families may still have a hand in certain leagues. Forward progress, eh? Not a bad time to have a coaching staff full of paisans. Thank you, cousin. You're exactly right. And let's take a moment, in case we haven't done this already, to acknowledge the good nature of the Colombo crime family to not get involved in this gambling ring in the NBA. The 4 other families, they got involved. But the Colombos, there was always something about them. Always something about them I found charming. They should hit him with exploding the Vic meatball. There you go. I like that. Tyrese Maxey, the MVP of the Sixers, no doubt. April, definitely rooting for Vlad Jr., as am I. April, I know. Poor little guy. He was not feeling it. I put a cold compress on his head yesterday, and it was like the best thing ever for him. He loved it. Thanks, everybody in the chat. You guys are great, as per usual. I'll be back with you guys coming up in a little bit on Locked On 76ers, and back with you guys tomorrow, of course, for the Farzi Show. See you guys later.